Welcome back to the Order of Twats. Okay.
Oh, yeah, let's find evidence.
Yes. Do you use the Koshiro's Leighton Brothers theme? I don't know. Anyway. That's not for the card of the Americas. Well, yeah, basically something about the Americas. Blah blah blah. They're getting organized. Blah blah. So basically, the rebels are going to the Americas to do something that the game will never explain.
I think it's more so that they're exporting goods over there.
A photograph of Lord Hastings. I wonder why they're even. Okay. What does it say there?
August 1858.
August 1858. Okay. Well, remember, most of these people at the Order have been living off the stupid Blackwater, so that's not really a surprise.
Still, though, a photo of Hastings in the rebels area.
We'll get back to that.
I mean, granted, maybe it could just be a coincidence, or could it be something more?
All right, let's investigate. What else could there be in this hospital? Let's see.
God, the frame rate.
Jesus.
And remember, I'm playing the game on my PS5, so
it should be at the smoothest possible.
So I guess this game's coding really is that crap.
But yeah, it turns out the rebels are exporting goods to the Americas. For what reason?
I mean, this game. Yeah, I mean, this game is capped at 30, so playing it on the PS5 should ideally lead to a locked flawless 30. But I guess the frame pacing is just that bad. I don't know. Or maybe the game is just designed to always lower the frame rate during picking shit up. I don't know, because sometimes developers do that kind of thing. Because remember, Dragon Ball FighterZ intentionally decreases the frame rate during certain bits to emulate the way Dragon Ball Z was animated. You know. Mm-hmm. So sometimes the game will actually do that on purpose for some kind of creative choice. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, let's pick the lock. Stanford lockpick.
Again, reminder, we can pick this lock, but we couldn't pick the other lock that might have helped us get here sooner.
Yeah, that's a good question, Mr. Galahad. Why don't you use this thing more often?
Because these, I get the idea it's designed for this specific type.
Oh, this part. Okay, guys. We want to talk about collectibles. We're about to get what is, in my opinion, the most useless audio log I've ever seen. or rather heard, sorry. Yeah, this one. Let's listen.
All through the night.
Okay. What does this have to do with anything?
Well, he talks about the night at the beginning. I get it, this is a poem that gets passed on through the civilians.
I get that, but I get that, but it doesn't tell me anything useful, and it even says unknown origin there, so I don't even know who even wrote.
Well, it does mention that it's on the tune of, the pronunciation Archidinos, which in English means All Through the Night, which is a Welsh song. From 1784.
The issue with something like this is well, you don't even get how it's tangentially related to anything. It's just a random bout.
What they want to do, Java, is do something similar to what Bioshock Infinite did, to include a lot of old-timey song, but the old-time religion, that will fit this particular time period and will still be, something that ideally a civilian would sing, in this case, with children.
I don't know. Idea. The problem is that, again, the execution.
I mean, the tapes in Phantom Pain actually have something that's related to the story of the game. I mean,
same with Bioshock. Okay, look, the thing with Bioshock is a lot of its audio logs will normally be tied into stuff you're seeing right there in that room. For example, you get an audio log off the tape of a dead guy. Then his audio log pretty much shows why he is dead, essentially.
Yeah. Oh my god, this is still going. Sorry.
I still think it's, this is integrated with the setting more overall.
I guess.
Sure, we could have not, we could have lived without this, technically. But I've seen worse parts of audio log we don't feel, or even pieces of extra that you can collect, like the fucking script in
So,
Break.
what exactly did that have to do with, I don't know, fucking anything, exactly?
It's also the same way stuff like Dead Space integrates Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
I just don't really see it, though. Like, maybe if it was tied to something having to do with the room, or, again, even more so pertaining to the knights themselves as opposed to just this weird song of, again, unknown origin, I'd be fine with that, but nah, it really feels like that.
But hey, at least...
Oh, for this one you use your knife.
But hey, at least they gave me an opportunity to use a UHF clip, so that's nice.
United India, you mean.
Ah.
Perceval, come in. Perceval.
Can't get anyone to answer when we need you.
Suspicious.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I guess nothing important was in there.
Next. Yeah, like, why even bother?
Alright, so I guess I'll just break this lock now. Again, why couldn't you use this knife on that gate that other time?
It's not like the knife is fragile or something, it's done specifically also for this valuable purpose.
Again, they really want to pad out the game. The problem is, like, well, as a result, they end up making a mess even more so of the story than it needs to be. Like, news tip. Why not have it be that they lose the weapons or something?
Summons and subsequent instructions will be forwarded to your respective locales. Be aware that inquiries have been made regarding a few of the members by both the police and the Royal Army. The latter does prove more worrisome and should not be taken lightly. Thus, I urge everyone to mind their interactions with any new...
Reverb.
Yeah, this game, I also kind of have the same problem, the same way I have with the audio logs in Quantum Break, where you don't even have the chance to listen to these while playing. You have to pause the game and just sit back and listen.
I mean, getting to listen to this after you've listened to it initially, then that wouldn't be a problem.
Oh no, that would be fine. That's what most audio log mechanics do anyway. Like, I just wish we could have actually listened to this while playing instead of just, pausing the game and just sit back and listening. Basically, this while you were gone, we had ourselves a little lullaby of sorts. That's basically apparently based on a Welsh song. And guess what it had to do with it? Till disagrees, but me and Joe would think that it had to do with nothing! Absolutely nothing!
It's to the point where it even says that the song is of unknown origin as well. So even the game's like, I don't know.
Again, the text talks basically about the Knights of the Round Table, and even the Lady of the Lake is mentioned. So I don't think it's completely, fitting.
Let me put it like this. It feels like something that does not have a proper payoff, therefore it does not feel like it's connected to anything as well, except, oh, it mentions these people in this poem.
How about an audio log that tells me Grain's backstory? Something that actually fleshes out the character. Something that's actually more important,
Yeah. Let me put it like this. I think I'd be more okay with that poem if the supplementary material in the... Okay, supplementary material is not a good name for it, but, if the extra details were, good overall.
Still need some time to recuperate.
I assure you, Grey, I'm perfectly well.
Will there ever be a time when you will heed my advice, Izzy?
You know the answer to that question. But you would have to obtain Father's blessing first.
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
Yeah, this section. This scene. Alright, you think that's bad, Java? Wait to see what Lafayette says now. In a moment.
My friend Galahad.
Where have your concerns for my well-being gone?
Oh, mademoiselle.
Wait. I thought you didn't want
Hold on,
his
hold on.
remarks.
However, the same cannot be said of your gallant knight.
Excuse me? Why are you two being dicks all of a sudden?
Understand? As you wish. You are taking a big risk.
Where did this come from? Like,
Did I tell you, monsieur?
first, Izzy's like, when will you take my advice, Izzy? You know that. You have to ask my father first. And I'm like, what? He wasn't flirting with you. He wasn't courting you. He was asking you if you could stop being stubborn. And then, because, oh, don't worry. I was never afraid for you, miss. Now, as for your gallant knight over here, well, fuck off. Like, when did you become an asshole all of a sudden? Like...
I think what Agrain was saying was, I'll only listen to you when you finally marry me, because remember, she's apparently got a thing for Galahad, which, again, it feels all the more one-sided the more the game goes through.
Because
It makes me wonder, is this sexual harassment? Like, dude, girl, leave the guy alone.
Not to mention, Ready at Dawn. Is this really the way you want to characterize your only major female character?
He's a sexual harasser.
Well, okay. Technically, there's another major female character we're gonna meet later, but this is the primary female knight of the game. So, is this really how you think you should write her? I don't know. I think you might want to rethink that. To be honest with you.
I said it before, and I'll say it again. It really feels.
Oh
like
wait, that's
this
already
game-
chapter 4 is done. Chapter 5, Agamemnon Rising. Yeah. Basically, this game has like 13 or so chapters. I forgot the exact number, but as you can see, and trust me, it's gonna get worse even. Like later on, we're going to start blitzing through chapters left and right. Like,
How weird is it that it feels like so little happens in these chapters, yet it feels like we're going quicker through them than we should be.
Okay, so here's what I decided to do during this section. So Perceveal was telling us to go down, so I decided to just let them go without me, see if the game reacts.
Bye.
And Perceval's like, Galahad, go, what are you doing? Galahad!
Precarious, my friend.
Like heights.
In position.
Is that the game just automatically moving you down there?
My god,
Was
even...
that you finally
My
doing
god, Galahad, even when you're dropping into a blimp, you walk slowly as fuck.
Okay, to be fair, for a section like this, I get the idea of being precautious, I guess.
I guess.
Guys, as cool as this looks, why don't you have a platform below that can lower you through? Why do you have to go over the side of the balloon?
There you go, beat more fast.
But yeah, seriously, what was up with Lafayette and Igraine there? Like, what the fuck? Did the writers suddenly have a
guess that's
brain
just-
fart?
Yeah,
I
actually,
guess
that's
that's
a
to
good
show
point.
off how their quirky team dynamic.
I think that's a good point to start looking into the writers, because there were two. I did some research or commentary, but just to be sure. I know that one of them is actually the CEO of Radiant Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. The writers were two. Ru Wirasuria, apologies for the pronunciation, which is one of the key people at Radiant Dawn in terms of not necessarily CEO, but at least high in the chain of commands. So again, on paper, props to the idea of the commitment to the product, but still. The other, and by the way, his only major writing before this was writing for God of War Chain of Olympus, which, you know, the plot of that is
I mean,
fine.
but-
Arguably, that one too contains a couple of arcs that go nowhere, so I guess some versions did not die. The other writer, Kirk Ellis, instead is one that worked, and after this only worked, only on TV stuff.
I forgot,
Never a
Teo.
video game before or after.
I forgot, Teo. Didn't you tell me that Cory Barlog worked on Shins of Olympus as a story writer or something?
I don't remember that. I'll check in the meantime.
Okay.
So, guys, why didn't this chapter just start with them inside their airship? Why did they have to be on top?
Because us walking slowly through the blimp is apparently such an incredibly thrilling gameplay set piece that we just had to include it, Jova.
Okay.
No. I mean,
That's
why did they start on top of the blimp to the point where they
And
had to...
with that phrase, Perceval's fate was sealed.
Yep.
Seems that the council grows wary.
It's the equivalent to say, "Oh, I have a devoted wife and daughter that expect me."
Or the whole I have one more day before retirement.
I was about to say that.
Hey, Dwebs, did I mention you that I only have one more week before I retire so I can finally live in peace and maybe take some vacations with my family? Man, that would be fun. I sure hope nothing bad happens to me.
So you want me to get the gun now?
Anyway,
But
check
no.
that. I got to answer your question, Pedro. Yes and no, because God of War Chain of Olympus had 4 writers.
Oh, wait.
Cory Balrog, the aforementioned Rue Verasuria, Mark Turndorf, and the writer of Neck 2, Marianne Kravsky.
Also, never mind. Apparently, this is a Rebels airship, which just leads me to wonder how did we get on top of it in the first
Like,
place?
and not to mention, what's the deal with the air traffic control? You would think that being part
Yeah.
of Rebels, there should be at least some bombardment from the Royal Army.
Yeah.
And remember, the Knights have control over airships of their own. Like,
Are they
okay, look,
afraid to cause collateral damage if they destroy one of these? I don't know.
you know, I love this. I love this, Rue. So we've had all these long, padded moments of scenes that we really did not need, and then the moment when we have an integral scene that we do need, we just skip ahead to them being on top of the airship. Like, what the hell?
Okay. Don't worry. This is just hacking the fuse box with that minigame we already established. Okay. The airship level, or blimp level rather. Okay, so the blimp level is where this is not where the plot starts shitting all over itself, but that's only in foresight. In hindsight, however, and I do have hindsight since obviously I'm already further than this into the game. Yeah, this is. When you look back at this chapter of the game, after seeing the whole story, this is where you can tell the writers completely lost the plot, because there's going to be a specific section in this level that makes no sense once you know what comes after in the plot and what the rebels are specifically doing here. Because, the reason we're here, basically to recap what was said in that previous cutscene, because I was ranting about how Lafayette and Izzy suddenly became assholes for no reason. Basically, there's a lot of rebels aboard this blimp, and we need to come here just to make sure we stop them from doing some kind of terrorist attempt or some shit.
Question. Since at this point the Order are apparently okay with us doing all this stuff, since they did provide the airstrike, why don't we have more of the Order's support dealing with the rebels? Why is it still just these 4 people?
Well, remember, Jova, this is a covert mission, and the Lord Chancellor forbade us from doing this. Remember, we're doing this without permission from the Lord Chancellor. So
remember though, at this point the Order know what we're doing because we called in an airstrike from them.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Covert operation.
That is true. I guess the people who run those blimps don't actually check, and they just listen to whatever any of the knights ask. I mean, they don't get it. Maybe when the Lord Chancellor made sure we're not going to do anything, he didn't notify any of the blimp drivers or something.
That sounds very inconsiderate of this operation, but I guess that's one way to help the story flow.
Well, Jova,
have the people be idiots.
That's the thing, Jova. If the people in this game actually behave like rational human beings, there wouldn't be a plot. It's the prototypical example of an idiot plot. A plot that only works because the characters are morons.
And honestly, a sequence like this should be pretty awesome, as Bioshock Infinite has shown, but no, it just feels dumb.
Oh, trust me, if you think the game is dumb now, wait till you see later, because the game is only going to get dumber. The game gets dumber and dumber and dumber as it goes along. By the time we're through with this game is a complete nonsensical mess of stupidity that makes no sense. It's like the Roger one said in his review. It really feels like they had a lot of multiple plot threads in mind, but since they couldn't fit it all into just one game, they had to basically save most of them for the sequel. And as a result, like Jova said, there's a lot of setup for a sequel that never happened.
Also, I checked for just to be informed on the matter, and interesting enough, Pedro, in case you're wondering, the other game that Radiant Dawn made for God of War, Ghost of Sparta, Cory Barlog was the sole writer of that one.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
Considering that one dwells more into the actual family ties that Kratos has, it starts to making a lot of sense.
Well, remember, like, remember to, question, Joe, well, okay, for the sake of not spoiling anybody on God of War Ragnarok, remember to, when he's in the forest with that specific character, because they have to patch things up, you know the one, they even had that entire moment where Kratos tells them all about Cassiopeia and his brother. Cassiopeia. Sorry, Cassiopeia. Is that how you pronounce Cassiopeia?
Calliope.
No. Oh, for some reason I was saying Cassiopeia. Never mind. I'm thinking of something else. Never mind. Calliope. That's it. Calliope. Yeah, Calliope. That's it. And his brother. So remember, even though Cory didn't write Ragnarok, he was still the producer and creatively in charge. So I'm pretty confident that was something that he felt would be a nice way to, throw in some nice little references for the fans and shit like that.
More when we eventually get.
No. I'm honestly, when it comes to Chains of Olympus, I'm convinced probably what happened with that is that Cory was there to make sure things started out well. So it's just.
I don't really understand why we needed 4 writers for that one. Like, it's like proofreading and everything, but it's a bit excessive for a PSP game.
Well, okay, remind me too. Didn't Chains of Olympus, the original PSP version, come out like in 2010? Was it? I think. Because if I remember correctly, by that point, Cory was not working at Santa Monica. He was working at Crystal Dynamics. So I feel like
2008.
Oh, 2008 was it? Okay, let me check when he left Santa Monica. Because remember, there was that period where Cory left Santa Monica and then came back later after Ascension. So
I've got it up on Wikipedia. I'll have a look. Basically, he joined Crystal Dynamics in March 2012 to direct the cinematics for Tomb Raider 2013 and direct an unannounced game.
Yeah.
But yeah, he left the following year, 2013.
My guess is because of how Ascension kind of flopped. They contacted Cory. Cory, we need your help. Can you come back and help us try to set things back?
I need just unpack my last suitcase.
All right, let me double check real quick.
Oh no! Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So basically, here it is. Even though, oh god, what was his name? Stig Asmussen, right? The God of War 3 director. That's it, Stig Asmussen.
Directed also Edge of Spider-Man, Edge of Time.
And recently, the Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Last Survivor games. Here it is. Even though Stig Asmussen was the general director of God of War 3, Cory was the game director of God of War 3. For the first 8 months of development. After that, he departed Santa Monica, and he says right here, although not part of Sony at the time, he helped in writing God of War Chains of Olympus and God of War Ghost of Sparta. So basically, at this point in time, this was before 2012, which is when he joined Crystal Dynamics. In between 2010 and 2012, he was a freelancer, I'm guessing. So. And I guess, Santa Monica was like, Cory, can you come help us write the PSP games? And I'm guessing Cory was at the time maybe having trouble finding work, so okay, fine. So
also, I confused the director with the composer. It was Gerard Marino who worked also on Spider-Man Edge of Time. My bad.
Sure. Anyway, lockpicking.
So, back to the note about this. Like I was saying at an earlier point, if you really want to keep us from using these things at places where we should obviously use them, maybe say, well, again, preface it with Tio's idea that, it can only work on a specific lock here, or better yet, have the characters lose those items for the segments or whatnot, so that then they have to work around that here and there.
Well, your second option, Joe, will make the game a lot more tedious.
Oh, it would, which, again,
it
really
like
just...
Mindjack, where you lose your guns every single section.
So here's the obvious third option. Don't do something stupid like this.
Just a rumor.
Alright.
But best keep clear of the docks.
You guys there?
Yeah.
Yes.
And if there is any truth to it,
We're just listening.
talking about it.
I
Good point. Wouldn't want any trouble.
Well, about that.
Okay.
Agamemnon christening.
I thank you for the service you have all rendered to our great kingdom. Your selfless...
But you're all fired.
You're fired from briefing.
Yeah, that's okay. The one I just said, that's like the nicest version of how I would write it. The worst version would be like, I thank you for the service you have all rendered to our great kingdom. But fuck you all.
Pinnacle of flight engineering and dirigible architecture. This Leviathan shall fly high as a symbol of progress and the future to come.
Is that so?
Yeah, the humanity, something crashing down.
That our great kingdom will be
It's
looked
just
upon
so
to lead the
dumb.
world at the end
So
of
dumb that it's brilliant? No, it's just dumb.
to a new era. A sign of the times that should not be taken lightly. Today, we launch the Agamemnon as we take our rightful place.
Also,
Power to the people, yo!
Hail Britannia and shit.
also, the how do you pronounce that thing?
Agamemnon.
Agamemnon. Yeah.
Agamemnon.
I love how that audio log said it's the testament of to British ingenuity. Keep that in mind for the next part, because let's just say this blimp's future is not rosy.
Well, I guess that's what is called irony.
I guess.
Again, you know, legend says in Britain that King Arthur will return in their darkest time of need. So that just means that it's not as... Okay, it has not reached the bottom of the barrel yet with its downfall.
Mm-hmm.
That's been my cue.
Alright, there's an enemy there.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna come around the corner, my dude. My god, even the enemies move kind of slow.
Well, I mean, in this case, it kind of makes sense.
Oh, this section. Oh,
They have to make sure that every nook and cranny is covered.
Not just I get that, but at the same time, one thing about this section is that okay, it's a stealth section. I get that. Thing is, if you get spotted, you immediately get one-shotted. Like you immediately die. Like which again, Galahad knows how to defend himself. If a guard spotted you, run towards him and beat the crap out of him before he can contact anybody. Like so, I don't know.
Come on, we've had other bouts where there are clear shootouts and you can get shot during that. So it's weird that suddenly all of a sudden you get spotted. That's a one-hit kill. Like I feel like what they
put an excuse like saying, "Oh, that the Galahad surrenders immediately." At the very least, it says, "Well, sure, he could have charged and everything, but it's more reasonable when he gets insta shot."
Okay. For the sake of see, a Plague Tale Requiem has section like this, like has some stealth sections that force you to stealth through, and if you get detected, you get insta killed. Thing is, in Plague Tale Requiem, they usually offer better story context for why it is the way it is. Not to mention, when it comes to Plague Tale Requiem, you're playing as children, which of course is while Alicia is capable of defending herself well, especially in Requiem, she's still technically a teenager still. So obviously, it's more reasonable to expect to be overwhelmed by the amounts of troops she has to go through, especially considering how a lot of those sections usually it's very well armed mooks. So with that one, I will argue it's much more, and like I said, there's better story explanations for why those sections are designed like that. This one, this section is designed like this just because. Like I feel like if this section would be fine if they offered a more clear explanation for why Galahad can't defend himself during these bits.
He suddenly develops a bad hip whenever he's in combat. I don't know.
Sure, Dave.
I guess. Fortunately, if you know.
I did say that when that happens, you're in a life and death situation. suddenly your hip gives out.
Fortunately, it's not that difficult. Because here's what you do. You'll see that you'll notice his flash out. The moment he turns around, go just to him and just stab him from the back.
Also, Dweebs, Galad is not Laguna from Final Fantasy VIII.
Alright, so let's try to get him from behind. In fact, we can even run, and there you go.
Shank.
Oh, and by the way, when that QTE, the triangle button that you see when you get close to a person for a stealth takedown, make sure you press it at the right time when the button lights up, because if you press it at the wrong time, that also counts as an insta-kill.
Of course.
So, yeah. Fortunately, the QTEs are on that. Especially the QTE for the stealth takedown is very easy to get, so whatever. It's fine.
I feel like the only QTEs that have, if that even is the case, require a split-second reaction are the werewolf ones, and like you said, even if you fail those, you win the boss fight.
Mm-hmm. Who knows? Maybe the final boss time will succeed at the QTEs. Who knows? Start placing your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, where is it? Like, seriously, this fucking place is just so labyrinthic.
And it's weird. This should feel like an exhilarating point, but it still just feels padded.
Like, it would be... It's one of those cases where... Okay, apparently this game was in development hell for like 5 years, and it was originally going to be a co-op werewolf shooting game. But
that would explain the AI partner that nobody can control. It was probably supposed to originally be someone else you control.
Yeah, I don't know how they went from there to this.
My guess is the AI partner thing got left in, essentially, and they never bothered to
The
take
Morning
that
Post,
out.
United India Company, latest acquisition deemed pervasive, and someone clearly was putting a coffee mug on top of this newspaper.
Lively debate in Parliament was prompted by news of... Oh, never mind.
Alright, so while Sir Galahad thinks over what he just read and reads the rest of the Morning Post, we'll go back next time and see if we can save Lord Hastings from the rebels.
Yeah.
Yes. See ya.